Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, continuing our smackdown of user McCainisthrough and her cut and paste video. Picking up where I left off after I cited St. Cloud, Minnesota having a new record low of 15 degrees Fahrenheit. On February 12, 2008, Good Morning America said that 32 states were experiencing record lows or nearly record lows. Las Vegas and Texas both had snow in December 2008. And in November 2008, North Carolina and Georgia were facing January temperatures. Still, the networks remained virtually silent on the possibility of global cooling and even kept up the drumbeat of global warming stories. ABC's weather editor Sam Champion was the only person on three networks who mentioned a NASA report which said 2008 was the coldest year since 2000. The location in Siberia that is traditionally the coldest, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of this town, you can find it in the links on the right side, it hit negative 76 degrees Fahrenheit twice in December 2008, a temperature that has been reached only one other time in the last 25 years. Hurricane activity hasn't seen a massive uptick either, but coverage in the antique media waiting for the next big one to pummel the Gulf Coast is. 4 out of the 15 longest periods without hurricane strikes, that means they have at least, the hurricane eye doesn't have to hit mainland, it just means that hurricane force winds have to be detected on the mainland, that's counted as a strike. 4 out of the 15 longest periods without hurricane strikes, that's about 27%, have occurred since 1983, when the planet was presumably in full overheat mode. Lengthy strike-free periods extended through 1983, 1,105 days, ending with Hurricane Alicia. 1995, 700 days, ending with Hurricane Aaron. 2002, 1,084 days, ending with Hurricane Lily. And 2007, 688 days at the time and counting. Now let's shift over to the source of most of these record high temperature readings and the flaws in these terrestrial weather stations. This from 2007, and I guarantee this user hasn't delved into any of this. This will be completely new, catch her totally by surprise. As members of Congress debate, again this is from 2007, as members of Congress debate sweeping legislation to address climate change, shouldn't it be newsworthy that of the roughly 25% of weather stations analyzed by independent non-government volunteers, more than half appear to not meet federal guidelines involving their placement? Well, meteorologist Anthony Watts, the owner of What's Up With That, speaking at a climate conference in Boulder, Colorado on Tuesday, presented his findings concerning the examination of some of the weather stations across America that monitor the nation's temperatures. The news was quite disturbing. The preliminary results show Watts and his volunteers have surveyed about a quarter of the 1,221 stations making up the U.S. Historical Climatology Network. Of those, more than half appear to fall short of federal guidelines for optimum placement. Some examples include weather stations placed near sewage treatment plants, parking lots, and near cars, buildings, and air conditioners, all artificial heat sources which could affect temperature records. Like if I stuck a thermometer in my driveway and it's gravel and took readings from that, and at the same time had another one over there that's covered in asphalt, of course the asphalt's going to absorb the heat and you're going to get a higher temperature. So these aren't in compliance. More than half of them aren't. And we have one more tidbit of information this idiot has overlooked. Actually, she probably didn't know about it, but would have overlooked it if she did. This is a big one, too. When the Soviet Union fell in 1990, the number of reporting weather stations around the world declined from a high of 15,000 in 1970 to 5,000 in the year 2000. No appropriate compensatory weighting mechanism was thereafter applied. Such an absence critically skews everything thereafter to the warmer side of things, since it takes some of the coldest places on the planet, like Siberia, out of the equation. With that absence, it's likely getting colder than we know. How convenient. So yeah, if you take out a bunch of those weather stations in Siberia, obviously this average global temperature that they calculate is going to seem higher. And that fits in with the, it's getting so hot. The 90s were just, it was boiling hot. Man was just torching the planet with this evil industry. And as I've always said, global warming is not a scientific issue for these eco-environmentalist wacko and viral kooks. It is a political issue to put the economy under control of the government. And of course, there is a new world order aspect to it, whether you want to believe it or not, because now, as Christopher Horner said, greenhouse gas emissions in Ohio now affect people in Paris, and we need a global solution. We need a global world order, and that's what it's coming to, folks. So most of those links, again, I'll have them on the right side. A lot of them come from my global warming articles, but I referenced each of them individually. Some of them didn't, but they're all there, so you can check out what I'm saying. And Anthony Watts he did finish analyzing over about 79% of those weather stations, and there's a massive PDF report you can read. You can even buy it online. I'm sure Amazon, Heartland Institute has it. I'm sure Amazon has it as well. You can buy that and read it in detail, and that's something McCainisthrough never delves into, is detail. So hopefully that helps you all out and dispels some of the myths that this user is propagating on YouTube. It's certainly not the truth. It's all smoke and mirrors, all fluff, and no stuff. Don't thank us now.